Let me tell you where I started from. I had an 8-year relationship with the girl. I had a lot of extreme nice guy tendencies. At the time, I didn't know that because I didn't know what a nice guy was. I thought I was just a nice guy who was getting shitted on, right? Thought I was doing everything right. I was being nice. I was being caring. I was being everything that I thought a girl wanted at the time. But I was also running from tension, not stepping into tension, being afraid of it, being afraid of difficult conversations. Not creating any tension, that's for sure. I had a lot of covert contracts, doing this, expecting this in return, not getting that. And so when that relationship ended, I had a few dates and I had dated a girl on the rebound and I still couldn't figure out what was going wrong because nothing was working. And so I remember sitting at home one day looking online, all naive, I feel about it right now, but I was like, how do you get girls, right? And you know how the search works on the internet. Once you type that in, you get every fucking advertisement. It's something about dating. And so I ran into the Fearless videos, and Brian was talking about the nice guy syndrome and all this stuff. And I was like, it was really resonating with what he was talking about. And I was like, I want to go see this guy. So I showed up to something similar to this, but it was on a Wednesday night. And I can see in that workshop, that Wednesday night, it was just like, okay, I can see where I'm at. And I can also see where I want to be at right now. And I can see that the tools that he's talking about will help me, right? Because I have no tension skills whatsoever. Like vulnerability, I'm okay with, but tension, I suck at it. Grounding, I suck at it. So I took that workshop, and it literally changed everything. Like it changed so much. I remember the first thing I noticed is that I can stand and look at people in the eye without freaking out, without doing this smile that I had. It was a tension release, right? This nervous smile that was like, whenever I get in front of a person for too long, it was weird. And so I wasn't doing that anymore. And that's what I would notice is that when I was talking to girls, for instance, the conversations will go a lot longer. I would feel a lot more, and they were a lot more interested than they were before. And then that over time, you can start seeing the girls are interested versus me being like self-rejecting, pulling myself out the conversation prematurely because in my body it felt weird and I couldn't manage the tension in my body. And so, I stopped doing that and I got a lot of dates. I started going on more dates with girls, started having more sex. I started to, things just got more exciting. And so I kept showing up, Brian and Dave, they offer this free assisting. If you take the experience workshop, you can come and assist anytime you want for free. Sit in the back and listen and help out. And so I would do that whenever I could. I would actually call off work. I would call off sick just to show up and assist for free during the weekend because I was getting so much fucking value out of it already. And every time I would leave the assisting, I would go back to work that Monday feeling like a whole nother powerful dude again, like even more powerful than I felt the week before that. And before that, so I was just like, this stuff is amazing. So after that, I jumped into more workshops. It makes sense, right? If something's working, you just milk it until it doesn't work anymore. And the principles here, we always talk about increasing tension and living a bigger life. And so that never really stops, You just like, where do you want to go next? Where do you want to go next? And so I started to feel more confident in myself and, started traveling by myself, dating got more interesting. The girls I was dating got more interesting. Traveled with these guys, went to Europe to do a week-long workshop. And things were just getting better, got better and better. And until one day I decided I wanted to quit my job that I was at for 10 years because I was like, it felt right, And I was scared of the tension of doing it, which means I needed to do it, So I stepped into it and I quit the job. I quit the job while I was in Europe, actually in that workshop, because I think the confidence that I had gained from that, I was just kind of like, yeah, I can do it. It's the time, And that's what a lot of this work is about. It's just being more confident in yourself, but also learning how to get through the emotional barriers that are stopping you guys from being as confident as you can possibly be, right? Being sure of your decisions that you make and making riskier decisions based off where you want to go in your life. And so, I was just taking it very seriously. It became my life. Every day I was thinking about tension. I was thinking about relaxing into my body, feeling my body. Am I feeling my feet? Am I feeling all this? Am I feeling all that? Over time you keep doing that and then you just kind of mold yourself into this person who can handle a lot more tension and it starts to actually become completely fun over time. People start noticing you changing. People are commenting on how much you've changed, even if you don't feel it yourself. And it's really crazy to see how people respond to you, And I remember where that started from because, they do an advanced workshop, a 7-day workshop in Bucharest. And that's absolutely life transforming. And I remember trying to get the first 7 days off from that. My boss was like, you only have this much vacation time, and that was all the vacation time I had. And I was like, cool, I'll take it, And so I took it, went to Bucharest, had some fun, wanted to go again, and I didn't have any vacation time. And so, that was tension in itself, walking up to my boss being like, yo, I want to go again. And it was on very short notice. And she was like, look, you only have this much vacation time. You're not going to get paid for this much of it. And I was like, okay, it's cool, let's fucking go. So I went out there the second time, and everything I had learned from the previous workshop was just taking effect, and I was reaping the benefits of it. And so this workshop was compounding even more, and I was just like, okay, I want to stay out here 2 more weeks after the workshop ended, and I already knew I didn't have vacation time. So I emailed my boss, and she was like, look, this is gonna be considered absent without permission for 2 weeks. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna get fired for sure. And so I remember sitting there at the computer, like trying to change my flight, and all this tension had come up, and it was like, don't do it. You need your fucking job, You need your job. And so, the price to change your ticket was on the screen, and it was like $500 something, something ridiculous. And I was like, I can't do that. And one thing led to another, and I had to call Delta or whatever the airline was, and they were like, they're like, you wanted to change your flight? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, the price is this. And then she started talking to me, and she was like, so what are you out there doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm here for a workshop doing this and this. And she was like, okay. And she's like, well, hang on a second, let me talk to my boss. And so she left like 30 seconds, came back. She's like, all right, we can do $140. And I was just like, oh no, you're making this way more difficult for me. And so I was like, oh shit. And so I bought the ticket, and that was it. And I was like, oh shit. And all the tension of like, I might not have a job when I go back home, it just fucking came up. But the other part of it was just like this relief of like, I fucking made a decision. As scary as it is, I made a fucking decision for once. And it was cool. It was the greatest time I ever had. The last 2 weeks I spent there, it was the best. And then I got back to LA, thinking I didn't have a job, and so I didn't think to go to work on Monday. And so they're like, I get a text from my boss on Monday. She's like, why are you not? What are you supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be at work. And I was just like, so what? I was going for 2 weeks without permission. So I had to formally walk down to work and quit and resign. Yeah, I walked in there, and I was just like, okay. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't work anymore. I've been there for like 10 years, by the way. And so she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. My fucking legs are shaking, my hands are shaking. So she walks me to the computer. I resigned from the thing, whatever, and I leave the job. And I remember sitting there. I was working at the library downtown.
So you went straight to the library. You had you shaking in the boots.
It was a city job. It had all the benefits, making $40,000 a year. It was really great position. It was security. It was extra security. And so I got out of the job, and I sat on this little stump, and I was just like, oh shit, my body was just shaking. I didn't know what to do, and I'm just like trying to ground out the emotions that I'm having, and there's this little bit of freedom that kicks in. It's like, okay, this kind of feels good. I'm gonna go to the beach and I'm gonna approach some girls. So I got this freedom, And so, and that was the start of that journey of being like, okay, I made a decision to do something I always wanted to do. And ever since then, it's constantly been like that. It's like, I travel now. I go to Brazil, I go to Japan, I go.
How many territories have you gone through since then? I mean, you probably can't count, but.
Yeah, endless.
Like each time, it's like, oh shit, what do I do? But you do it anyways.
Yeah.
And how many have worked out?
Yeah, a ton of them. Yeah, a ton of them. It's like the airplane's taking off and shit. If you're scared of flying, it's like, oh shit. It's like, I'm on this flight. I can't go anywhere now. I've already made the decision, And so that's been a part of this whole journey of growth and learning how to step into a decision and see it through. And there's still some things I'm working out now, but it's like Dave says, it's playing a bigger game now, living a bigger life. So the decision's a little bit harder because there's a lot more tension than it used to be. Whereas before, 3 years ago, the stuff I'm dealing with now would have just crippled me, So.
Did you go to Japan? The first time you went, were you still working in the library, or was that after?
Yeah, first time I went, I was still working at the library. Yeah. And then the second time I went was after I had already quit. Yeah. So I went to Japan twice. And I love that. I love that culture. I love the car scene over there. I'm so big on Japanese cars. So like going over there was like a dream of mine. And yeah, that's a part of this whole thing. Again, it's just like constantly creating tension and stepping into it and living the life that you want, especially with women and dating. And the women are always, it's always getting more interesting and interested. And I want to give you guys detailed stories, but I kind of don't want to at the same time. They're getting wilder and wilder, but yeah, that's pretty much it, And I became a coach. I quit the job. I struggled for a small bit. I remember being in that workshop with you, the experience workshop, and Brian talking about all these amazing guys like Walter Russell, the guy who kind of, he's done all these amazing things in his life, or guys who risk it all just to struggle for a little bit to live the life they want. So all these stories in the back of my head when I'm sitting there thinking about making a decision, I'm like, well, this guy's done this. He struggled for a little bit and he made it, right? And so that's always in the back of my head when I make these decisions. It's like, it's a little bit of sacrifice in order to have what I want. And so quitting the job was one of those things too. So as a result, having not quit my job, I wouldn't have been able to coach with these guys right now. And that's, remarkable, because I'm seeing you guys come through the door, take our workshops, and you guys' lives are expanding, and we're hearing about it constantly, constant feedback, constant text messages about people, oh my God, my life is changing. Oh my God, I met this girl, she's into me. I don't understand why she's into me, but it's just like, because you did the work. That's what happens when you do the work. You know what I mean? So it's really a blessing to me and to you guys to see you guys come through the doors and shift the way you guys do. But that's pretty much my story.
What was going on when you first came? Because that was right before I came in.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that you like ran out or like you like left and didn't like what was going on like with you or your feeling or your
yeah.
And then you came back. What brought you? Because you stepped into that tension like that's early on too.
Yeah. That was my first experience workshop. Like I said, I had no experience with talking to women, and they had me in a bar. And I remember being in that bar because I hate to hang on to the story, but I was raised in more like poverty. Like I was raised in the hood, the ghetto, right? So the people that were in this particular bar, they seemed really high class. But they're not really high class, but that was the perception I have of them. They dress nicer, they speak more eloquently, they're more hip and all this stuff. And I was just kind of like, I had this low self-esteem about myself at the time. And it felt like I couldn't talk to anybody there because I was like, I'm scared of them. I'm fucking terrified of them. I don't think we relate in any way. And so after the conversation I was telling you guys I had with these two girls, like it just fucking frustrated me. It just reminded me how much I lack the skill and how much I'm afraid to talk to people. And I got frustrated, and I remember being like, fuck, like it's never gonna change, it's not for me. All these guys are in here are confident, I'm not confident. And I was mad, I fucking left. And I remember driving back home, all fucking frustrated. I was like, man, fuck this shit. Yeah, so mad about it. But I had paid to be in the workshop, so I came back the next day. And and I'm glad I did, because had I not done that, I probably wouldn't be where I am now. And going into that place now, it's just like, it's really fucking easy. Yeah, you go in there and start a conversation with pretty much anybody. We do that sometimes. We'll go in there, we'll have our clients go talk to every single person in the bar and make friends with them, And you go there sometimes, you know the people already, they've met you before, so. I hope that answers your question.
I just can't believe you're in front of the room talking.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. Yeah. We were both like just looking at you guys on the couch, like, because we've been doing this for a while, like probably 4 or 5 years, and so we've seen them come in and become coaches, and we're like, they have like the hottest sexual, and like when we were talking about you guys, you're like, they just have such good energy now and such confidence, and
he would just look at, he would
180.
He'd be like, hey Nikki,
He couldn't look at
how are
you.
you?
He could not look
What
at
about
us.
the weather? Like, I kept trying to like do this and get eye contact. He would not. He was just, and then he walks off, and I'm like, what's wrong?
Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
So it's interesting when like I've had other groups and they're like, yeah, but I'm not like Anthony. Oh, Anthony? Like,
Yeah.
John? And you're fine. You're right where you need to be.
Yeah.
You can do it. They just did the work. You do the work. I promise you.
Yeah. These girls have seen a lot. These girls have seen a lot. But yeah, that's all I got.